Time. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Kudos to the fans.
We knew we could always count on those guys to show up and make it an unbelievable atmosphere.
Our fans are so passionate about our team.
He caught it. He caught that ball. That's your touchdown.
3 at the buzzer. Whether it be at the Jane or at PK Park or Autzen or MKA or wherever, boy, did they come strong.
You're a fan of the Ducks. I mean, you need to get involved with that deal.
Top of the arc, 3, 10! It's one a ton toward the flag. Good!
You can just see it in the way they cheer and the way that they get into the game.
Probably tells you how special Oregon is.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Fall camp wrapping up. Oregon starting to transition to opponent prep against Boise State. It's also Oregon soccer rivalry match day. The Ducks take on Oregon State tonight at Pat Bay Field. 6 o'clock start. You can watch on Big Plus if you can't make it out to Pat Bay Field. Tuning in on KWVA around the Eugene area as well. Some announcements around Oregon football today that I think are pretty powerful internationally. Talk about Oregon having a national brand, but today really exemplifying an international brand. And we'll put a bow on fall camp by hearing from both Drew Mehringer and Chris Hampton, the Duck offensive and defensive coordinators, respectfully, and a few student athletes that I think as you get to the end of fall camp, you start to hear some consistencies, right? And Coach Lanning would say, well, when your culture takes hold, right, it's when your players have that consistent message. And I think Oregon has really done that this fall camp. More on that coming up. Today, though, the University of Oregon, Big Ten Network, and DAZN announced a coordinated content and distribution effort builds on the momentum of Oregon football's summer trip to Japan. Remember, that was when head coach Dan Lanning and 7 different Oregon student-athletes traveled to Tokyo in June for the Tokyo Oregon Football Showcase, hosted by Division Street Events and the Japan Gridiron Association. Now, DAZN has an agreement with the Big Ten Network, streaming all Big Ten football games internationally outside of the United States. And for the first time, Oregon's home game against Portland State will be available free to view for fans in Japan and worldwide outside of the U.S. Remember, that game kicks off at 7:30 on Friday, September 18th, which is 11:30 a.m. Saturday the 19th in Japan. So while we get Friday Night Lights, Japan gets a normal midday football game on a Saturday. How about that? Pretty cool. Rob Mullins said the Tokyo Oregon Football Showcase created real connections, and this is a special way to build on the momentum created by our visit. Working with Big Ten Network and DAZN lets us bring Oregon football to fans in Japan and in all international markets DAZN serves, and we look forward to continuing to add additional content and other elements to this partnership. Now, one note, those of you that are avid Go Ducks YouTube followers, well, you see Ducks versus them all the time. Well, now Oregon Athletics is going to share some original programming with DAZN, including Ducks versus them and some other collaborative social content. Big Ten Network is going to deliver an upcoming episode of The Big Trip, the documentary series, and it's going to chronicle Oregon's time in Japan. This is really cool. Again, you talk about Oregon being a national brand, and people see the O, and we all go through airports wearing Duck gear, and you get the Go Ducks shout. Well, now that's happening all over the world and has been building that way, and especially as American football, to call it that, right? It was a World Cup year, so good, important distinction, right? Thank you, Harry. I'm glad that Harry chuckled at that today. The truth is, though, that American football is still very much an American sport. Now, you've seen the NFL play games in London. We're seeing a college football game. This has become an annual tradition this weekend, played in Dublin, in Ireland. And now you get the distribution to worldwide and Japan with these sorts of connections, just continuing to grow the game. And I anticipate that the sport that this country loves so much will just continue to get more popular all around the world. What a cool partnership, huh? What a cool partnership. And a free-to-view game. Imagine how many young future Duck fans may check it out and then become Oregon football fans as a result. More details on GoDucks.com. Also news today, the Oregon track and field team will host the 2027 Big Ten Outdoor Championships. That was announced by the league office today. The meet will take place May 14th through 16th at Hayward Field. The Oregon track and field team, I still think Hayward Field should be the permanent host of the NCAA championships. Why not make it the permanent host of the Big Ten championships? I realize there's a Duck sitting in this chair saying that. It'll be the 12th time that the Ducks have hosted a conference meet in Eugene. Second time that the Big Ten will crown its outdoor champions in the Pacific Northwest, with Oregon also hosting in 2025. Oregon will host the 27 NCAA championships just about 3 weeks later. So the Big Ten championships are set for the middle of May. The end of May, the NCAA first round will actually be east in Jacksonville, Florida, and west in College Station, Texas this year. And then the NCAA championships are set for June 9th through 12th this academic season, 2027. June of 2027. It's going to be here before we know it. Scott just had a big frown on his face when I said that. We haven't even started football season yet. Football season is here. Let's wrap up fall camp today. A number of interviews to cover. I said we were going to start with Drew Mehringer. I'm pulling an audible. See if Harry's ready for it. Second time that Harry's directed the show, our OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire. Chris Hampton, Duck defensive coordinator. Let's hear from him. Start with the defense and get to the offense with Drew Mehringer next. Chris Hampton breaking down where the Ducks are as fall camp concludes this week.
Drew said to us yesterday that he felt that the defense had been whooping the offense recently in camp. Curious your thoughts on that, and then more seriously, how you've seen this defense progress from camp, from practice one to where they are now.
Stu was maybe just a prisoner of the moment. You know, I think we had the better of them one day. They've had the better of us some days. I think it's been a lot of good back and forth. I think we've made a lot of strides. We still got a ways to go before September 5th.
Coach Lanning's talked a lot about pursuing the ball. What are some of the other traits that you're really seeing, come through in these first, few weeks?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job attacking the football. Hopefully we can keep that up throughout the season and, throughout practice. I think I've seen us play with, great physicality. We've had some really good effort for some guys at times. This has been an easy group to coach. We're doing the basics good. We're lining up right, getting our hands in the dirt, playing with technique and fundamentals, eyes on our keys. So if we do that, we'll be okay.
Coach, there's a lot of talk leading into fall camp about Devin Jackson, his development, and kind of being a cornerstone for this defense. How have you seen that come together, and what have your been impressions of his progress?
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. I think he's going to have a great season for us. He and I have had some one-on-one talks. We've watched some film together. Coach Michalowski's done a great job of helping him develop. I think his confidence is high right now, and I think he's going to play his best football this season.
Can you just give us an assessment of the last 3 weeks of camp? You got a week and a half before game one, and just where you feel the defense is right now.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. I don't think we're not a finished product yet of where we want to be, which is fine. I think we've had some highs, we've had some lows. So trying to be consistent is, I think that was the big message this morning, is can we be a consistent defense? At times we've been really good. There's been some times in practice we haven't been. And part of that is we go against a good offense every day too. But we can't concern ourselves with that. We've got to try to go out and be the best each and every day that we hit the field.
Chris asked my question, but kind of building off of that with game week already next week, just how excited are you to finally be scouting another opponent, and how ready do you feel like this defense is to finally take on a game week and go out there and play and defend someone else?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited to see us go play against another team, to see the fans pack Austin Stadium, to get back out there and and play football, play the game that we love as a team, and for the Oregon community and the Oregon fans. And I think that, we're on the right path. I do. I think our kids are extremely hungry to play. I think our staff's hungry to get to work and, watch someone else. We've went against our offense a lot, and we do a lot on offense, so we get to see a lot of different variables and shifts and motions and movement and, et cetera, formations, personnel groupings. So I think that prepares us a lot for what we're going to see in the fall.
You have a sense in terms of how much depth you'll utilize? I mean, do you have a number, generally speaking, of guys you think you'll play in like a regular rotation?
We say if you're good enough, you're old enough. We've got a lot of guys still rolling out. We haven't done a depth chart yet. We'll probably start that on Friday, where we start to separate, who's in the ones, who's in the twos, et cetera. But we've got a lot of quality football players. So I think that, the challenging part for us is, finding roles for everybody, and that's what we're trying to do.
Kind of sticking along those lines, of Devon Benjamin's a name that's been mentioned quite a bit over all of fall camp. What's made him be a guy that maybe is old enough to be ready to play?
I think he's got extreme confidence. I think he's obviously got the skill set. A lot of freshmen have the skill set, but there's times that there's a learning curve. He's a smart individual. He's really confident. He's got some swagger to him. I think he'll be able to help us this year.
From the spring when he arrived until, this fall camp, how have you seen Coy Parrish evolve as like a leader and somebody that's really central to what you guys do?
Really pleased with him. I think he's became more vocal. He works extremely hard. He's one of the guys. The guys really enjoy being around him. He's a great teammate, unbelievable human, and his game is accelerated. He's really competitive on the practice field, goes 100 miles an hour each and every day, no matter what the drill is, special teams, defense, individual periods. So I think Coy's had a great fall camp.
With Coy, we know his versatility, like you mentioned with special teams, what he's done before. How's that versatility showing up in the defense? Is he someone that's moving around in the secondary a bit, kind of moving into the box? Do you feel comfortable there?
Yeah, I think he can do it all. He's shown the ability to cover in the slot. He can tackle. He's been extremely physical. He's made a lot of plays on the ball. He's very ball aware. He's got some savviness to him. So I think that, I think he's a guy that we can utilize his skill set. I don't see a lot of flaws in his game.
You're no rookie to being a defensive coordinator, obviously, but for you, this camp, what has it allowed you to develop or grow, areas to grow in?
Yeah, I think just, relationship with the entire defense. At times when you're the DB coach, you don't talk to, everyone per se that you do now. If there's an issue that comes up, I meet with everybody on defense, whoever the guy may be, if there's a defensive lineman, linebacker, et cetera. So I think it's allowed me to, have a bigger impact with the guys on the team. It's allowed me to talk to the quarterbacks more now. I talk to some of those guys doing special teams a lot about, what are they seeing from our defense, what gives them problems, what looks, how are they identifying us. So I think it's just allowed me, should I say, to have a better relationship with guys on the team.
The star position kind of boiled down to Devon and Carl, and if not, maybe explain who else is in the competition. And into the season, is that a spot where you think it'll be worth rotating between multiple guys, or do you want, kind of like Candy last year, just kind of lock in on one guy?
I think there'll be multiple guys do it. I really do. I think that Carl's done a great job. Davon's done a great job. Zach Grisham's done a great job. So we've had, there'll be some guys that do it this season that you'll see in September. But no, it'll be interesting to see, who goes out there and, plays the star position for us.
You mentioned Coy's value as a teammate, as a person. I'm wondering if you could provide an example of what that looks like, him in that team setting.
Yeah, he's got this golf club that he kind of got this summer going. He's got a golf simulator at his house. That was like one of the things that he was looking for when he came here, was that the house that he moved in had a garage, or wherever he stays it had a garage, so he can bring his golf simulator. He's got a bunch of guys that he plays golf with. I'm not a golfer, but we've got a lot of DBs that play golf now. Trey McNutt, Peyton Woodyard, Dante Moore obviously plays with him a lot. Brandon Finney, and Coy's like the best I've heard. So he's got a golf crew.
Where's Dorian Brew and Trey McNutt kind of in progress? Where's their progression at, and just kind of where are they at going into the year of their opportunity to play?
Tremendously improved. I think they're both helping us out. I think just watching out there practice day, Dorian Brew had a great day out there today on the field. That's a great question. I got some guys that sometimes people don't ask about as much. I think Trey McNutt's, continuing to improve, doing a great job for us, and I think they both can have roles for us this season.
I asked Drew yesterday, but first fall camp as a coordinator at Oregon, has there been anything that's surprised you, anything that's harder than you thought it'd be, easier than you thought it's been?
No, it hasn't been anything that's really surprised me. It's been an enjoyable process. When I've been here for a few years now, and I work with an unbelievable staff, and Coach Lanning's been great. We've been able to bounce ideas off each other. He gives me his input. I've got Coach Tuioti, Coach Michalowski, Rashad Wadu that has been here the entire time, Camaragi. They've been here longer than me, so it's been kind of a seamless transition, honestly, for me. I'm just going to work.
Conventional wisdom is, I think, week one, an offense wants to kind of show as little as possible to win the game, hold some things back. Defensively, does that apply? Do you have some things do you need to see everything kind of in a live setting to gauge it, or do you try to hold some things back?
No, Boise State's an unbelievable football team. I don't think it'll be anything we can hold back. Those guys almost beat us last time they came here. I think we have to unload, if that makes sense. But no, I don't think there's anything you can say hold back. There's no secrets in football. Cover 3 is cover 3. Cover 1 is cover 1. A lot of times it's who's running cover 1, who's running cover 3, who's rushing that passer, and so there's really not a lot of secrets.
You said depth charts probably discussed on Friday, so I won't ask you necessarily to make any proclamations, but just the cornerback competition in general.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how hot that's been and the talent
Yeah,
you guys have there?
it's been good. We've had, obviously, Finney and Iffy started majority of the season last year. Naeem's had an unbelievable camp. Really proud of him. He's playing his best football right now. Dorian Brew, Aaron Scott. So we've got quality depth. Trey Watson is a guy that was a junior college kid that signed with us, and he's had a lot of good flashes this season. So I think we've got great depth there, and there'll be a lot of different people probably rolling in at that position.
No, it's on the offensive side of the ball, but Drew said yesterday he's got an idea board that anyone in the program has an opportunity to come and write down ideas. Have you seen this idea board? Have you participated in the idea board?
No, I haven't. Now he does ask me, what do I like that they're doing, what gives us problems. Drew has been great to work with. Sometimes you can work with a coordinator and they want this thing, and it's their way or the highway, and they're selfish. And Drew is not at all. And so he and I have worked together great. I need to see this, Drew. Hey, I need to see this pressure. I need to see this personnel grouping on this play. And so he and I have worked together great. But no, it doesn't shock me that he's had an idea board. He just asks me questions, but I'm sure he has an idea board because sometimes guys aren't as open to open up in a group setting. So that's a great idea by him of having an idea board.
We're going to find out more about Drew Mehringer's idea board in just a little bit. It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Wrapping up fall camp, talking offense with coordinator Drew Mehringer after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
With a new Toyota from Toyota's National Sales Event, you can turn your end-of-summer scaries into end-of-summer woes. Pack a picnic into a 4Runner and hit up a stunning mountain vista.
Whoa!
Haul a bouncy castle in a Tundra.
Whoa! I'm king of the castle!
Or take a BZ to an amusement park with friends. Keep your woes going this summer in a new Toyota.
Event ends August 31st. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Just heard from defensive coordinator Chris Hampton, now offensive coordinator Drew Mehringer. His final availability, talking publicly before we get in to opponent prep. Boise State, Ducks are getting ready for the Broncos. Drew Mehringer, Oregon offensive coordinator, wrapping up fall camp.
Dan said on Saturday that he felt the defense had a better day than the offense was able to get some stops. Just curious, how do you feel the offense came out today and attacked and kind of took ownership of that?
I think our theme was after that was reset, refocus, and those guys did that. I thought we had a much better day today. The execution and detail and all the things that you're looking for were a lot higher.
What have you seen out of the depth behind Jamari Johnson this fall, and how have those guys performed in camp?
I think we've seen a lot of good things from all those guys. Coach Smith has done a really good job in that room, helping me out there. And I think that the tight end position kind of grows a little bit slower than others, just because aside from throwing the football, they do pretty much everything else. So there's a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge you got to acquire. And so all three of those kids have done a really, really good job. Really, not even three, but let's see, there's a bunch of them now. 5 or 6, you know what I mean? But they've done a really good job. I think it's a really good room that will continue to develop and get better.
I'm wondering how much the, added offseason time to do some installs has helped kind of get the offense to this point. And do you feel like essentially all that you want in is already in right now, or is there some progress from now till game one?
I think that it's always a fine line and a balance of, we could do this. And really the question is, do we need to do it? There's always ideas. Like I have an idea board in the offensive staff room where guys are like, hey, dude, this play would be awesome, right? And you're like, okay, great. Like, when are we going to put that in? I don't know. And so I think you said the offseason, the added offseason stuff for us is great because you get to cover a lot more than just plays, but situations and how we handle them and what we're looking for from our guys. So, it's been great. I think we're in a great spot right now. Certainly our defense presents its own set of issues that we got to work through too. Which has been fantastic for us, and Hamp's awesome to work with. Dan's obviously a stud, so it's great.
First couple of weeks, obviously, you guys are still kind of getting their feet wet, right? Getting used to adjustment, fall practice, all that stuff. Now that we're basically 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season, how are you seeing the offense kind of take that next step to where they're obviously closer to game day readiness, and what are some of the leaps that they've taken just beginning off this week?
I think that there's more than anything else, like you start to see guys like start to get comfortable in their what they're being asked to do, right? And kind of going back to the first question, you start to see the fundamentals and details of it's not just that they're going in the right way, right? They got great hand placement, they've got great footwork, right? There's great communication on when the defense changes or blitzes or whatever it is, right? What communication has to go on. So it's more than just lining up out there and saying, hey, I got a corner route. That's kind of what always happens at the beginning of fall camp or spring ball. So I think we've progressed past that and like, okay, we see this look, like, what do we want to do?
How do you assess Evan and Gatlin, both guys, different reasons, but not playing football for over a year and just kind of getting that rust off, getting themselves ready for game ready, where you may be ready to put them in the game?
How do I assess it, or what is the assessment?
Yeah, what is the assessment?
Okay. I was like, how do I assess it? I was like, get out there and see what you got, I think it's been great. I do think that anytime that I've had 3 knee surgeries in my lifetime, we're talking about Evan. I certainly haven't taken a 2-year mission like Gatlin. But I think that anytime you go through, periods of time without playing, even if it's just for our guys coming off of summer break for a week, there's always going to be a little bit of rust, right? And both of those guys have had a great attitude and great intention on improving their game as fast as possible. So I've been really proud of both those kids.
Messiah is someone who's been popping up a little bit so far this fall camp. How can he separate himself in such a deep receiver room, and what has he done so far that has kind of made him stand out?
I think for anybody at any position, Messiah included, the separation factor is just simply what you do on the field, right? It's not, hey, we got to see you go do this or see you go do that, right? It's for a lot of people, it's do the other 10 guys on the field trust you? You're going to be in there. You're going to make plays. And Messiah has come along. He's had a really great last week, and I think he's doing some really, really good things for us. So everybody. I tell everybody the answer to every single question that you'll ever have in football is play well. Coach, how do I get drafted? It's play well. How do I get playing time? Play well. It's all the same. And so we've been using the term obsession, right? Are you obsessed with playing well, and whatever that takes?
You've worked with Coach Lanning since 2022. Having worked with a lot of coaches throughout your career, is there anyone that he reminds you of in the way that he leads or how he coaches? That's
a good question. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of great coaches in my life, some that have made some very lasting impacts. I think as the head coach, it's very hard. You walk a very fine line of demanding, right, from not only the players and your staff, but also being approachable. And that's very hard. I think a very hard line for people to walk. And I think Dan does it almost effortlessly. And the same guy that will hold a staff meeting and hold all the staff, the coaches accountable, like this wasn't good enough at practice, we've got to be better, is the same guy that will crack a joke with you an hour later, right? And it's like, no, like we just understand this is what we got to do to go win, right? It's not personal. And so for that, I'm unbelievably appreciative. You don't feel like you're walking on eggshells, but you do feel like that there's a very high standard for the way that he sees the organization and the expectations around here to win. So it's unique, in my opinion, very unique, and I'm very thankful for it. I think everybody's obviously a little bit different. Coach Meyer ran his program differently than Coach Lanning did, and obviously they've got different influences. Coach Herman ran his program differently, so they're all kind of unique in themselves. And I think that talking to Pete Carroll when I was at Rutgers, he came and. I think you have to be uniquely yourself. If you try to be somebody else as a head coach, I don't think it's going to work. I think you have to be yourself, and I think that Dan does that very, very well. So I think it's a mark of obviously confidence in your abilities, right? And it's also it makes the day-to-day for everybody else in the building a lot easier and a lot easier to grow.
Make of the sort of swagger that Evan Stewart brings. It's obviously a balance of confidence and focus when it comes to the receiver position. But how do you view that?
If Evan does not lack confidence at all, certainly to be, I don't know what his TikTok following is or whatever it is, but I'm sure it's quite a bit from what I've been told. I'm not a TikToker by any stretch. But I do think that, we listened to a Jocko Willink video today, and he was talking about whenever he goes in to perform, right? He's like, I do get a little bit cocky because I want to believe in myself that I can go do that. And I feel like Evan walks around with that all the time. But, Evan's grown so much in the sense that his cockiness doesn't turn into arrogance at all. He has confidence in his ability to go do it, but he wants to be coached and he wants to get better and he wants to develop. He doesn't want to walk off the practice field and nobody said anything to him about how he can improve his performance. So he's a lot of fun to be around. He rarely has bad days. He's got a big smile on his face. He dances and he sang all the lyrics to Party in the USA or something like that last night, right? He's a stud. I love being around Evan.
He is a lot of fun to be around at practice. I mean, we played his interview from the podium earlier this week on the show, and just the smile on his face, seeing him, that joyful look again, just being around the team and playing football, so cool for Evan Stewart. Pressing pause on Drew Mehringer, the Duck offensive coordinator. We'll come back and hear more on the offense on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Winning doesn't happen by accident. It takes a playbook, one that works when the pressure's on. For 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been that playbook for the injured, recovering more than $35 billion for our clients. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics, because in football and in the courtroom, the right playbook gets results. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you. 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, please visit usdeputy.org.
Hey, how are finals coming along?
Good, Mom. It's not easy. But then I remember how hard you would study at the Adult Literacy Center to finish your high school diploma. And it motivates me to keep going.
You're right. Hitting the books after a long day at work was tough. But getting my high school diploma opened new opportunities for us.
Totally. It's so inspiring.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Tomorrow, Jerry and Jorgie will be in the Country Financial Studio. We've got a Big Ten pick to make. We've got to review fall camp and get ready for game week coming up ahead. The Ducks getting ready for a stripe out at Autzen Stadium. GoDucks.com for all the details. Get your tickets. There's still some available for the opener on September 5th against Boise State. A 12:30 kick, that means a 10:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Part 2 of our conversation with Drew Mehringer. Met with the media, the Duck offensive coordinator, just wrapped up talking about the smile that Evan Stewart puts on everybody's face and continuing to talk offense with the OC, Drew Mehringer.
I guess a two-parter. Coming out of 2 scrimmages, are you able to assess better the freshmen and maybe their readiness to contribute right away? And then the second part is Brandon and Tredarian as running backs, and in that running back room, kind of where they stack up, and I guess where you think they fit in terms of that readiness I asked about.
Yeah, I think readiness in our line of work, right? We use the phrase "if you're good enough, you're old enough," right? And I think that a lot of kids, freshmen, coming into college football, obviously they go through these stages of where, like, I was really good, now all of a sudden everybody's really good, and that's kind of a bit of shock at times. And then there's obviously more on their plate from a scheme standpoint, right? So there you see these, undulations in the growth pattern here. And so I think that there's several of those guys that, in the past, like last year, Dier, right, is a great example of a freshman running back that last year was like, we're not sure exactly where he's at mentally, at the time, right? And I'm not using a running back because you referenced running backs. I'm just as a young freshman, and he's going to continue to grow. Like they're not polished products by game one, right? And as much as we'd like them to all the time be polished products by game one, very rarely do you get one of those. Even Josh Connerly, right, when he played for us, like he wasn't a polished product game one as freshman. He's a 3 and done, going to starting for the Commanders, right? Like he's a fantastic player. So I think that there's a lot of those guys that are right there on the cusp, and they're pushing. And our program, I think, allows for that. In terms of those 2 other kids that you mentioned, I think they're doing the same thing. They're pushing. They're both got their issues that they got to go fix and develop, right? But they're working on them, and Sam's doing an unbelievable job with those guys. So. I think we're all really excited about where those guys are at, and then continuing to push them to grow. And the 2 older running backs in that room, or 3 older running backs in that room, well, I guess there's 4. There's a lot of them. I think they've got a really good culture of pushing each other, and I don't know that I hear another position, at least on offense, coach each other, maybe the offensive line, coach each other the same way that those running backs do, right, where they demand effort and strain and stuff like that. And so I think that's pushed those running backs, the young ones, along further than they probably would have been.
Another one about Evan Stewart. I would assume the role he had in 2024 isn't just something that you as coaching staff just hand him. From your perspective, what has he done to take the steps to kind of earn that spot back? And then how do you go about assessing that? How much do you use from the 2024 season to determine his role in this year's team?
So I don't think that anybody would have ever accused Evan of not being talented, right? So we saw that, right? We saw that in 2024. And unfortunately, the 2025 season is what it was. But I think that when Evan was coming back in January, I remember talking to him, and I was like, hey, this is what's going to happen moving forward for you. And this is the stuff that you got to get better at. And let's look at this from just the year of 2026, and let's look at this as it pertains to your football career moving forward after that. Here's all the areas you got to grow and improve. And I do think that sometimes for us as humans, it takes a bit of a shock to the system to change some habits and things like that. And Evan did. Evan changed almost all of his work habits, and he's had an unbelievable camp for us. He's an extremely hard worker, but he hasn't changed who he is, and I think that people like Dante make that okay for guys like him to, like, yeah, you can still work really hard, right? And you can still be fun and laughing and smiling and stuff like that. Those are not mutually exclusive ideas. So he's worked his tail off. He's playing a number of different positions for us right now, more than he did for us in 2024. So I'm really excited about the season that he's going to have for us, and very proud of him for the way that he's worked. So we're pumped.
The wide receiver group just as a whole, I mean, Evan Stewart down to the bottom, to Corey Moore, Hooks, etc. Just there's so much talent with it. And Coach Douglas was talking about how there may not be a need for a number one wide receiver as just one guy. They can all be number one wide receivers, game by game. Just how have you seen that group develop over fall camp? And do you echo that same sentiment that just the talents and the depth you guys have in that wide receiver room, that on any given day, any of them can be a wide receiver run for this team?
Yeah, I think that there's quite a bit, and Coach Douglas is, he's done a great job in there with those guys. And Ross coaches them hard too. They're not just pretty boys out there. They got to be tough and play tough. They got to block in the run game and do all the stuff necessary for us to be able to win games in a variety of fashions. But yeah, I do think like we got guys out there, the guys that you mentioned for sure. I think any of them can go change a game, and we saw bits and pieces of that last year, right? Corey did it early in the year. You mentioned Corey, right? J-Mac did it several times for us, right? And Stewie did it for us, in 2024. So, and then you got some young guys coming on as well. So, and you got guys out there like Jamari, right, that can help you, and those kinds of things. So I think that they're in a great position, and yeah, I do think that any of them can go change the game. And to be honest with you, that's been our expectation of them. Like when you're out on the field, like you're supposed to do this because you're good enough to do it. So we're going to hold you to that standard.
At this point, I don't think that we'll talk to you till after the regular season and the bowl season. So It sounds weird, but how much fun has this fall camp been for you in the new position? I mean, what's been different from what you expected? What's been similar to what you expected? And kind of what's your excitement level going into this position into the regular season?
There's a quote from Jack Harbaugh that I say quite often, who's got it better than us? Nobody. And he was saying that when he was the head coach at Western Kentucky, sitting on probably not a great bench or outside of a great locker room or anything like that. And actually said that to the offense today. Who's got better than us, man? Like all the stuff that we have going around here, and we got the best head coach in the country. And man, you don't have anybody that when you get out on the practice field, you're like, man, I really don't want to talk to that guy. You love all of them, right? And they're a lot of fun to be around. So for me, this has been a dream come true type situation for me, and the chance to be in front of that room with the offense and in that leadership role has been a lot of work, right? But it's the labor of love that you wanted to sign up for, right? And we always want our lives to path linearly, and they almost never do, right? It's just not the way that God designed our lives. So it's been so much fun for me, and just to be around, I think, a great staff of people and a great group of kids, right? To come out and work every single day, like I'm blessed, man, and I couldn't be more thankful and more grateful for the situation that I'm in.
Drew Mehringer, a lot of great updates from the Oregon offensive coordinator. Every time we talk with the Ducks at the podium, it's brought to you by our friends at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Next up, at the podium, guy who might win the Remington Trophy this year, Pancho Lalulu, Iapani Pancho Lalulu. We're going to hear from the Ducks center, the anchor on the offensive line, when we come back to the Country Financial Studio right here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills, we're more than just a country club. We're where family, fun, and connection come together. Enjoy our award-winning course, vibrant year-round events, and the warm camaraderie of fellow members. Our all-inclusive event spaces offer both indoor and outdoor settings, perfect for weddings, business events, holiday parties, and more. Whether you're in search of championship golf, lively social gatherings, or simply a welcoming community to call home, Shadow Hills is the place where you belong.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon is off today. The Ducks back on the practice field tomorrow and Saturday. And then it's real game week practices on Monday. Coach Lanning will continue this year meeting with the media every Monday night. We'll play those press conferences for you on Duck Insider every Tuesday. Jerry and Jorgie will be with us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to what should be a good year of picks. We hope. It was a historic year for picks last year. It was the best any of us ever picked. It was great for all of us. Now I'm just thinking about all the shenanigans. Get your ibuprofen, your headache medicine of choice, ready for tuning into the show tomorrow. Pancho Lalulu, the Ducks center, the anchor, the returning starter on the offensive line. He was at the podium this week wrapping up fall camp. Some of the center's thoughts on the Ducks.
Feels like at this point you're as much of a coach as a player on that offensive line. How have you kind of taken that to heart this fall camp, especially when there's so many young guys and new spots to fill on that offensive line?
I mean, I just kind of take it as I'm just grateful and thankful for the opportunity, really, because, I was once in their shoes before. So being able to lead and help those guys out and in terms of whatever it is, whether we're off the field or on the field, just helping them out in life and in the game, means a lot, And I'm very big on pouring back into the youth and into the younger guys, so I want to make sure I can lead like that and lead by example and just having that servant leadership mindset,
Kind of picking up right there, I want to ask about your relationship with Kaloy and just kind of maybe maybe you can, I know it's been talked about a little bit, but some of the origin with that and just kind of what it's been like sharing camp with somebody you've known for so long.
Yeah, Kaloy, man, we both grew up in the same area. Kind of families, kind of ties a little bit. His mom's sister, older sister, is married to my dad's older brother, so that kind of ties in like that. Kaloy was a very quiet kid growing up. He wasn't really out, a lot. But whenever I seen him and just seeing him ball out throughout his year, throughout when he was young, and just seeing videos of him, it was cool. And being able to have him here and just kind of show him the ropes and just trying to be that big brother for him away from home. I love just being like that, being that person for him all the time.
Speaking more on that mentorship, like Tommy and Manny are guys that are right there in the mix, as true freshmen. Like, what has that relationship looked like with those two guys for you?
It's been good. Obviously, those dudes are huge. They come and walk up to me and just tap me on my back. Like, man, you ain't got to slap me that hard. They're two massive kids, but those good. The thing I like about those two guys, they always have joy. They're always willing to learn, asking questions, and just not sitting in the back. And they're willing, like I said, to learn the game and just seeing the way they develop. Tommy been here longer, so just being able to see how Tommy transitioned from when he first came in as a high schooler to where he is at now is a huge step. And also with Manny too, just coming in the summer and do workouts and just seeing how, when coach talk about certain, scheme or stuff, he's like quick to answer. And that just goes testament to Coach Terry and the law firm coaches and what they do.
Pancho over here. Can you play with Evan in 24? Can you just speak to just his journey, his progress since he's joined the team again in practice during the spring and winter workouts and now through fall camp?
Yeah, man, Evan, man, everybody knows Evan can chat. Evan is a very, juiceful guy, very funny dude, and just, ever since the incident happened, and just the way he attacked it every single day, I seen Evan in the treatment room. I seen Evan with the young guys, just coaching them up on the field, off the field, I meant, and just seeing him just grow in that role, because usually Evan, everybody knows Evan usually is the guy. So for him to sit out this past year, kind of, really taught him, and I think kind of humbled him in a way, but. Yeah, I just seen so much growth in that, and now I can hear Evan's voice out at the field, where it's no longer just me and Dante. Like everybody knows Evan is that guy, and when Evan speaks, it has a lot of volume behind that.
Speaking of Tommy, I mean, how difficult is it for a freshman like that to move around at different positions and play it at a high level? Can you kind of put that in perspective for us?
I mean, Tommy does a great job. He played all four besides center right now, and the coaches are kind of throwing him in the fire right now, and I think it's good because if God forbid anything happens, Tommy's one of those guys that can step up and play, and Tommy, he does a great job at it. There's still some things you need to work on and transitioning wise from his playing style from high school to now in college, and Tommy's been taking it as an opportunity and just going and just running with it.
Just Evan spoke on just the competition between the offense and the defense. As we get closer to game time, especially with you being in the trenches, how excited are you to finally start game prepping for another team next week? And how much has this defensive line pushed you?
It feels amazing. It feels great. It's amazing. I'm thankful and grateful, like I said, to go up against guys like that every single day. It kind of prepares me so I know, like, go through practice right now. So when game time comes, I'm ready to prepare because I already went this type of look. I already got guys on the D-line. You got, like, Bear, Amari. You even got younger guys like Matt Johnson and, what's his name, Tank. Those guys are doing a great job, and Fleazy. So just going against them every single day, in the trenches, just battling head-to-head is amazing. So, I'm just thankful that I get to go against, the guys every single day.
I asked Evan this question, but what's your perspective as a student athlete and a leader on this team about the possibility of NFL players returning to college football and 18 to 19-year-olds competing for snaps against guys who've already put on a professional jersey?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because, like, it kind of sucks, like you said, for the younger dudes that's coming in from high school trying to get that spot and to play the game. Right now, I don't think I have an answer for that question, but, yeah, it's kind of tough.
I know you're in the grind of fall camp, but I am curious, is there something that might feel special or different to you about this season for you personally?
Man, obviously coming back year 4, it's a blessing, these are things I prayed for, and just being able to come back and just to see being Eugene again. I love Eugene, everybody knows, kind of make a couple of comments about it. I love about me loving Oregon and stuff. This will forever be my second home. I just love the community and the people that I got to build out here. I got to build a family away from home, and just not just on the field but off the field. I'm able to make connections off the field as well. Like your father, Doc, I just seen him outside, a great man. So I love that dude. Just chatting up with him and him always giving us that opportunity to come down there, and then just meeting different faces and just being able to connect.
Yeah, how has Michael Bennett? He came in the spring, kind of progressed since the spring. Getting more familiar with the playbook, and what does he give you guys kind of this fall?
Man, he got the brains. He picked up things kind of quick. I'm not gonna lie. And just seeing the way he comes in, attacking every single day, and the questions he has, like after probably every rack or whatever, like he'll come up and ask me a question, and I like that because that means he's into it. He wants to learn. He wants to understand our scheme better. So just being able to have those conversations is pretty huge. And even off the field too, Mikey's a funny guy, cool guy to be around. Always have joy. Always has that smile. So I appreciate Mike every day.
Just as somebody in one of the leadership roles, like, how would you put in perspective the opportunity that exists for this team this year? Because obviously, there's a lot of talk on the outside, but from your perspective.
Man, right now, Coach Lanning talks about, just being where your feet are right now. So, obviously you got the outside noise, you got the media. Right now I'm just really focused on just preparing my guys and making sure that they're ready, full armored up, ready to go. By that time, Boise State get here. But right now we just focus on right now and then whatever we have tomorrow.
Punch, you probably know better than anybody on the team what the standard looks like for high-end offensive line play here. How close do you feel this year's group is to reaching the standard? And maybe are there some things that you can share of that, I guess, progress is still needed? Yeah, right now, progress is still making. We're still kind of towards the end of fall camp right now and just trying to figure out, who's going to be on that field. And I feel like, like you said, there's a standard. There's a standard that's been set from people who's been
being here before us, and I was very fortunate to play a couple of those guys who set the standard here. Like I had guys like, I had JPJ, Stephen Jones, and I also had guys like Johnny, Josh Connerly, and all those other guys, and and 2 other guys I just played with last year. It's a big standard. You want to make sure that we're protecting the guys at all costs and just making sure that we set the law firm. That's what we are. So we want to make sure we set things straight.
Both of Zaire and Drenor has been pushing hard this offseason, trying to get one of those starting spots. How have you seen their growth and kind of then pushing for one of those spots?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Obviously, G-Baby had something that kind of nicked him towards the end of the season last year. I just seeing the way he attacks it. Like I said, I see all those guys in a treatment room, in a weight room, and the way they attack, and the energy that they bring. And also for like Zaire being a young dude, just seeing the fire that he has every day, and also kind of like the brains he has. Like from where he first came, his freshman year, like that's the dude I would want on my team because he's in the treatment. He's also in the film room. Like there'll be times we finish meeting, Zaire's already over here, and that's what I like to see when I see younger dudes taking that initiative to, take time out of their life and to come and watch film and stuff.
4 years ago, you were in a similar position as Tommy and Nacho. Freshmen haven't played a snap yet. Can you reflect on that experience that you went through, and how do you help them get ready for the unexpected? Are you starting? Are you not starting? Are you going to be a role player? Are you not going to be a role player? And just can you kind of maybe assess just where they are as well?
I think the biggest thing, like when there's opportunity right there for you, you got to go take it, right? Like obviously you have older guys that are in front of you. I kind of told him, like, though I had older guys in front of me, I wanted the spot and I wanted to play. I didn't want to be on the sidelines, and I wanted to make sure that I had the coach. I had the trust from the coaches, from Coach Lanning and Stein and everybody that was here, and let them know that they can trust me when I go out there. I'm going to do my job, and then the biggest thing, just having confidence in yourself. And we've been preparing the whole year, through. Winter workouts to spring ball, into summer, and then into fall camp. Like, we shouldn't have any, fear about anything. Like, we've been preparing this whole year. So, just trust, your technique and fundamentals, and just trust the guys beside you.
Charlie had been kind of the backup center for so long while you've been here. I'm curious on your assessment of some of the younger players working in that room, and is there any player in that kind of center battle that really stands out to you right now?
Yeah, right now, you got Bryce Bowen, you got Devin Brooks and Kaloy. We even kind of mix up with a couple of the guards. Got like Kavika and Doug too. So just seeing those guys battle every single day, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure the best 5 is out there. And right now, I probably say we got probably one of the best O-line groups I've been around, where a bunch of guys can step up and play at any time. So that's what I'm very excited to see.
Pancho Lalulu. I'll tell you what, if you had an entire team filled with the work ethic and the leadership of Pancho Lalulu, that'd be the greatest team in the history of mankind. The anchor on the offensive line, Pancho Lalulu. I think he's got a really great shot to win the Remington Trophy this year. That's how good Oregon's offensive line has been historically. And remember, think back, Oregon's had a Joe Moore Award finalist as an offensive line group each of the last few years. New faces on those lines, too. Well, he's been a consistent presence over the last few years for sure. Timeout when we come back. It's Oregon Soccer Rivalry Match Day. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Oregon soccer in action today as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Beavers are in town at Pape Field, a rivalry matchup. The Ducks are undefeated, 3-0-1, and that one draw coming against a preseason favorite in the West Coast Conference in Santa Clara. That was a road matchup. Match day, 6 o'clock at Pape Field. It's on Big Plus as well as KWVA here this evening. The Ducks have been off to a great start, and the goal always, right, is to win, but I want to just come back to that draw again. The Ducks got down in the 3rd minute of that contest, came back even to the score, and then faced a true peppering in the last 10 minutes of the net by Santa Clara. But the defense held, and that's been a consistent force for Oregon. Even dating back to last year, Tracy Joyner's first year, the defense was solid. A lot of low-scoring affairs that the Ducks lost last year. This year, they're translating some of those low-scoring affairs to a draw against a preseason conference favorite, to a few shutouts. The only goal that Oregon's defense has allowed, that aforementioned penalty kick that was in the matchup against Santa Clara. Not allowing a goal in the run of play yet this season. Impressive. Trying to keep that going. You like clean sheets. You like shutouts. Trying to keep that going tonight against an Oregon State team that has struggled at the start of this season. On paper, this is a matchup that Oregon should win at Pape Field. And then I think some national eyes around the soccer community are going to start looking down to Oregon and saying, hey, that's a team that's improved this year, pretty good defensively, scoring goals. And Tracy Joyner has also said that the Ducks have even left some opportunities on the table offensively. Still some potential there, some things to improve on. Excited for tonight, 6 o'clock at Pape Field, Oregon soccer in action against the Beavers. Tomorrow, we're going to finish reviewing fall camp, and Jerry and Jorgie are going to join us. We got some picks to make. We'll remind those guys who won picks last year, too.
If a baby is giggling in the back seat, they're probably happy. If a baby is crying in the back seat, they're probably hungry. But if a baby is sleeping in the back seat, will you remember they're even there? When you're distracted, stressed, or not usually the one who drives them, the chances of forgetting them in the back seat are much higher. It can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot fast and can